At 17, I was sleeping on the streets of Melbourne with no house, no job, no support. People avoided eye contact. I was invisible. Today, I run a luggage brand and an SEO agency. We have offices in Melbourne, London, and Atlanta, and we're 8 figures a year in revenue. And honestly, I still have a hard time believing that sentence sometimes. People see the growth, the press, the team, but none of it makes sense without knowing where I started. I wasn't born into privilege, didn't have a safety net. I was called baggage. And for a long time, I believed it. Growing up, I was always a nerd, always on my computer, playing the best game ever, RuneScape, and learning how things worked. When I was 14, Mom had to sell the house, and that's when I moved in with Dad. He was old school, a sailor, didn't get the whole computer thing, especially not after a dodgy SEO company took advantage of his small business. So I taught myself. Through forums, trial and error, I got obsessed with SEO. I started freelancing, building websites, but I didn't have a stable home. I bounced between whatever house my dad and his latest partner was in, and when I was 17, Dad's new partner made it clear she hated me. She called me baggage from his previous marriage. I wasn't allowed to mention Mum at home, which is a banned topic, and one night after a fight, she walked into the room and said to Dad, "It's either the baggage or me." And he chose her. So no plan, just a laptop and a dream. Homelessness wasn't one sudden thing. It built slowly. I spent 8 months couch surfing, staying in crisis accommodation, and sometimes sleeping rough when I had nowhere else to go. My laptop was my only real possession. I kept it in my backpack and slept on it every single night because I was terrified of losing it. Because in my head, that laptop was my only connection to the future that I hoped that maybe one day I might still have. Early on, I met an absolute legend called Pin. He was smart, kind, and he knew how to live rough on the streets. He taught me the basics, who was friendly, who to avoid, and things like where to find a shower when you can't bear the smell of yourself anymore. He gave me advice that kept me out of danger and never made me feel like I was less than. We looked out for each other. I applied for jobs constantly, retail, Macca's, anything, but without a fixed address and with terrible nerves, no one called back. I remember sitting on the steps outside of a social benefits office trying to fill out these forms, just feeling hopeless. I started to believe that maybe I wasn't even worth helping. Eventually, after months, I got connected with some youth homelessness organizations. That's where I met Kadi. She was a social worker with tattoos and a kind face. I was an arsehole. The first thing I said to her, crossed my arms and I said, "Are you gonna help or waste my time like everyone else?" She just laughed and said, "Do you like R&B?" And that one question broke the tension. Every Friday, Kadi would meet with me, would listen to R&B, and would talk about my mental health. Every Friday, we would meet up and we'd talk and plan about the future. One day, I called up to reschedule, and the receptionist picked up and said, "Oh, you must be confused. Kadi doesn't work Fridays." Wait, what? I realized Kadi was so busy helping other kids, but she still made the effort to show up for me on her day off. And that changed the way I saw everything. Because you see, people assume that you get off the street with hard work, resilience, and grit. Frankly, I had none of that left in the tank. I'd given up, I was depressed, destroyed, I felt hopeless. But Kadi, she never gave up on me. She helped me come through. Kadi helped me get into a government business program. I didn't know what I was doing, but I wanted to prove that she was right to believe in me. That's where I met Graham. Grumpy, 76-year-old ex-CEO, didn't take any crap. And he chose to be my mentor. I would go out, pitch SEO to local businesses, get rejected, and go back to Graham. And he would always ask, "What went wrong? What would you do differently?" I didn't like hearing it, but I needed it. One night, Graham nudged me to pitch an event. I remember I stood up, voice shaking, and I just said, "I do SEO." I totally fumbled it. But afterward, a guy came up and said, "I need that. You're hired." And that was my first paying client. That money got me into my first share house. And September 12th, I'll never forget that day. The feeling of relief that I simply had 4 walls that I could call my home. I felt like I could finally rest. I remember just bawling my eyes out. I started StudioHawk with one focus: just do SEO. That was simple. Happy clients referred others, the team grew, the impact grew, but here's what mattered most. I started hiring people like me, people who didn't have degrees, didn't have the traditional resume, but they had potential. I remember hiring Anthony and Lawrence, two of my first staff members. I told them, I want to grow you like a tree, and they still bring up that line today. Now, well, Lawrence is our general manager in Australia, and Anthony's a co-founder of the UK. We became Australia's largest dedicated SEO agency. Now we've got teams in the UK, the US, and over 100 staff worldwide. My other business manufactures and sells luggage and travel gear in Australia. Kind of proof that you can go from being baggage to designing baggage. A lot of this I owe to my mentor, Graham. He once said, I want people at my funeral who are there because I helped them come through. I will be there. We've now helped house over 50 young people who are doing it tough through the Lighthouse Foundation, the same program that gave me my start. We hire people who've been overlooked, no experience, and instead we give them the laptop and help them achieve their goals, because people like Finn, Kali, and Graham helped me come through. And now I love that my job is to help others do the same. But if you ask me what I'm most proud of, it's this. I got to help my mom buy a house. She spent years bouncing between places, and handing her those keys, knowing that she finally had a place to call her own, that moment will stay with me forever. So I'll leave you with this. When you come through, who will you bring with you? I was homeless at 17. No money, no safety net, just a laptop in a backpack that I use as a pillow. Now I run multiple 8-figure businesses around the world. And now I'm here to do the same for others, including you. This channel is where I break it all down. What worked, what didn't, and what I'll change if I had to do it again. How I built everything bootstrapped, and why I still track my life like it's an RPG. So if you're building something, or even just thinking about it, hit subscribe. I'll show you how I think, how I work, how I hire, scale, make decisions. No fluff, no shortcuts, just what's real.